You are welcome back to African Colonization TV. I'm Jeffran History. In today's video, let's look into the amalgamation of Nigeria, the house of amalgamation of Nigeria, where the problem of this country started from, the seats of this issue of one Nigeria, where they signed everything together, and then the point where people did not accept of being one Nigeria, but still the first people to accept it. We are looking into the house of amalgamation, the main place where it is and the way it is being located, and how there is being as it is today. Because as you can see, the whole thing is falling apart. Nigeria is falling apart. The whole nation, no any zone, no any part accepts is still accepting to become one. Everybody is trying to be separated from each other. So since all those why everybody have been seeing what Michael Arnold has been saying, that the ultimate of this country is division. There is no need and there is no means of still holding Nigeria together. So time have come for people to start going back to the history. Time have come for people to start going back, looking into what is the cause of this problem and the why Nigeria has not been a country since then till now. Why? Because sometimes people will keep claiming, the politician, they will keep claiming, telling you that Nigeria is indivisible, that Nigeria is one, Nigeria unity is sacrosanct. But if you go deep and look into it, Nigeria unity, it is not sacrosanct. Nigeria is not one. Nigeria has been divided in different parts and different ways, but they will not tell the truth because of they are too corrupt, and they try to control mind of people by all means, using threats, using every means to bind people together. Because this is issue of punishment, of binding people together that did not accept that they are one. In fact, I would like you to watch the video for you to see by yourself the cause and the problem of this country and the constitution of this country. As you're about to watch, like, subscribe, and share it for everyone to see things going on in Nigeria.
History has it that Ikore Abasi, a local government area in Akwa Ibom State, was a major gateway into Nigeria apart from Lagos in the pre-colonial times. The community had a seaport through which some of the slave masters accessed the southern part of the country. This structure served as residence and office of Lord Frederick Lugard, who was the governor of both the northern Nigeria protectorate and the colony of the protectorate of southern Nigeria. He lived here with his spouse, Floral Shaw. This is where the Amalgamation Treaty was signed. Consequential artifacts have been left to corroborate history. The house is on elevated concrete pillars. It is a typical house of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It has a wide corridor supported by wooden pillars and big windows to cross-ventilate the offices. The whole structure is built with wood and corrugated iron sheets for the roof. The original roofing sheets are still here, but have turned dark brown, with a good portion of it totally gone. A visitor must be careful to avoid slipping through the holes and sustaining injuries.
Mama, be careful though, please.
Here are the relics of Lord Lugard's office. His table, chair, and his telephone are still here. Relics of old typewriter can be seen in this room that served as his secretary's office. A picture of Lord Lugard and spouse Flora Shaw is also here. The name Nigeria is said to have been coined by her. Some of the rooms are not accessible because of their poor state. The wood which serves as the floor is too weak to step on.
A building, and this is a local government that actually, hosted the treaty, signed Nigeria to become amalgamation in the days, the year 1914. So ever since then, this local government has remained like that, and we're thinking a lot should be done, to revive, regenerate these artifacts, and then see how to publicly, project the rich tourism potentials of this part of the country.
Directly opposite the Amalgamation House is Lord Lugard's residence. It's a story brick building made up of 3 rooms, neglected and now occupied by animals. This building is surrounded by other brick buildings used by Lugard's domestic staff. This location also brings to mind the popular Aba women riot of 1929, where women protested ill treatment by the colonial masters. A 72-year-old women's rights activist takes us down memory lane.
We can date it from 1925, when women in Calabar protested. And we can add the protests of women in Aba, but we must not forget the protests of women in Utuetemekbu. Women died. In Abak, here in Akwa Ibom State, women died. And then the climax that now forced the colonial masters to do something was here in Ikorobasi. And so if it's to be given a name or a title reflecting a location, it should be Ikorobasi Women's War.
Other landmarks here include the Bridge of No Return, which served as the major hub for slave trade. In response to these appeals, the state government says it has initiated measures to save the sites from extinction.
We've identified the location that, of course, it's not been managed properly the way it should be. And then we're trying to also identify every artifact at the location, the originality of all of those items, to be sure that, of course, these are items that were there since 1914.
If restored, this site could, apart from preserving Nigeria's history, attract revenue through tourism and boost economic activities in the community and the state.
Oh yes, that is it. That is the foundation of Nigerian problem. That is the place where the treaty of the northern and the southern protectorates started. And that is how it is.
Today on the program, we take a look at the Supreme Law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, enacted May 29, 1999, since amended January 2011. We discuss the effectiveness of the Constitution having restored democratic rule to Nigeria. We have the views of a constitutional lawyer, Professor Ben Nwabweze, the first academic lawyer to be made Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SEN, strictly on the basis of his published work. Also, highlights of the 30 new senior advocates, including the Attorney General of Lagos, sworn in at the opening of the 2018-2019 legal year. Plus, our question of the week. We go on the streets and ask how the third arm of government has performed since 1960. Hello and welcome to this episode of Law Weekly. I'm Millicent Umoka. According to my guest today, the non-justiciability of Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution was the making of the then Constituent Assembly, for reasons you'll soon find out, but proposes a solution that could make the proviso that is contained in Section 6, subsection 6C, subject to trial in a court of law. Nigeria's present-day constitution was implemented in 1999, and then, of course, today we have it as amended. What's similar to that of the United States Constitution, would you say that it has lived up to its expectations?
I must start with an introduction. I was a member of the Constitution Drafting Committee that drafted the 1979 Constitution, on which the 1999 Constitution is based. I was not only a member, but a leading member, the chairman of one of the subcommittees of the CDC, the Constitution Drafting Committee. Our principal preoccupation at the time was unity, one Nigeria. We were looking for a constitution that will give us that unity, that one Nigeria that we all longed for and aspired to. So that affected the structure of the Constitution. We transferred, just to give an instance, we transferred 50% of the matters on the concurrent list. You know, we have the exclusive and concurrent list. We transferred 50%, exactly 50% of the matters from the concurrent list to the exclusive list. And we didn't stop at that. We look at the residual matters, matters that are residual, and the residual matters are exclusive to the states, just as the exclusive list is exclusive to the federal government. We went there and we moved nearly 50% of the matters to the exclusive list. That's the root of the problem that we have today. We were looking for unity, we created disunity. The fight, the battle to control the center, where so much power has been moved, where so much resources, revenue has been moved. The intensity of the struggle to control the center is what we have today. That is the problem that we have today. Instead of unity, we created this unity.
So how differently could it have been done, or would you have done it? And do you think that it would still help us? I mean, we cannot foresee the future, so you couldn't possibly have known that this would be the results.
Yes, the operators. It's the operators who made the difference. The operators of the Constitution. Yes. They created the problem. Yes. And the clamor today for restructuring. This is all what restructuring is about. How to reduce the powers at the center. That is the question about restructuring, of which the country is clamoring, agitations here and there. And that root problem, it doesn't stop with the powers transferred to the center. It affected so many things. You mentioned the preamble. I will come to the preamble. When you look at the preamble is dictated by this desire, the quest for unity. We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if we want to analyze it, we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is there such an entity known as the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It's imaginary. There's nothing like we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You have we, the peoples. There are over 350 peoples of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The ethnic nationalities, they are all peoples. We imitated the United States, mimic. Now, and it goes on to say, to live in unity, yes, and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God. Can you understand?
Yes,
yes.
Aspirations, desires,
yes.
is what we wanted.
Yes, but it's not true. Don't project your aspirations too much into the future, as if they are reality. They're not. You create a problem by saying it's an indivisible. The theory of the indivisible sovereignty has been exploded since 1787, the creation of federalism by the American Constitution. It's already divided, sovereignty. We're 36 states. And the sovereignty of the country is divided between the federal government and the 36 states. So why do you contradict yourself by saying that the sovereignty is indivisible, projecting aspirations into reality? It's not indivisible. It is already divided.
So what would you rather the preamble be?
We need a new preamble. We need a new preamble. Remove all this archaic, quaint, they're all quaint phraseology. We have to remove all this. I was asked, oh, why did you allow this? The preamble, this preamble, was drafted by the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, Justice Udoma. And he handed the draft over to me. The preamble, I was the man piloting the draft constitution through the Constituent Assembly. As chairman of a subcommittee, I was a member of the Constituent Assembly by the provisions of the decree that created it. So Udoma handed this over to me, and I said, well, this man, I respected him. We have to accept it and put it like that. That's how it got into the Constitution, this thing. Sounds nice, but it doesn't reflect the reality. We're not indissoluble. Today you have cries for self-determination, for secession. Republic of Biafra has come and gone, but there's still people, group, agitating for it. This is part of what the quest for unity has led us into, this preamble, with this quaint, highfalutin aspiration. Aspiration is good. We must have aspiration. If I were to draft a preamble, I will use the specimen of the South African, the preamble to the Constitution of South Africa of 1996. Yes, very nicely reflecting the reality, the history, the aspiration of the people, and so on.
Separation of powers is provided in sections 4, 5, and 6, giving some powers to the arms of government. Do you think that they have lived up to the provisions in the Constitution?
Yes, that's good. You must have a separation of powers to operate democratic governance. Separation of powers is a necessity. So it's there. You couldn't really have the rule of law without separation of powers. Rule of law, who makes the law? If the executive is allowed to make the law, you can't talk of separation of powers. I mean, you can't talk of a rule of law. So separation of powers is a good thing. Are they respecting it, if that is your question? Today, is it being respected? The executive? Usurping the powers of the National Assembly. That's the part of the problem. Too much powers. I said the major problem is that in 1976, the CDC, the Constitution Drafting Committee, we moved too much powers from the states to the center. That's the problem.
Chapter 2. How did we get it wrong? Making sure that it is non-justiciable.
I drafted the whole of Chapter 2 in my house. The other members of my committee called them to a meeting. Only one person attended. I submitted my report to the plenary committee, chaired by Chief Rotimi Williams. And it was adopted and put in the Constitution. My committee recommended that the provisions that you have there, all those rights, economic, social rights, should be justiciable, should be amenable to enforcement by the court. That's what the justiciable means. There was a heated debate in the plenary, in the Constituent Assembly. I looked at the Ministry of Information produced a report called Proceedings of the Constituent Assembly. I looked at it again recently, and the Assembly rejected my recommendation that it should be justiciable on the ground that it will produce conflict between government, the executive, and the judiciary. 2 grounds. And the other one is that judges are not well suited, well equipped to determine such issues, social, economic rights, and so on. And the result was Section 6, subsection 6, C, provided that Chapter 2 should not be justiciable. That's how it happened. It's not the fault of my committee. It's the fault of the Constituent Assembly. It's not the fault of the military government either, because they altered the decisions of the Constituent Assembly in many, many respects, which I have detailed somewhere. I had recommended privately that the chapter, section 6, subsection 6, the non-justiciability clause, should be amended to provide that at least every year there should be some kind of plebiscite for the people to decide whether the government is conforming or not conforming.
Oh yes, that is a very powerful speech coming from the Nigerian, those who understand what is in the constitution, those who write the constitution, those who are there to form the constitution, and where Nigeria is failing, the side where it's falling apart. In fact, it's very, very shocking. Well, I would like to comment down below what you think about the whole thing happening. Like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see things going on in the country. So thank you for watching.